let me tell you why this book is the best book. Starting with, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to December. Like, this is my favorite time of the year, and it's not because it's actually my birth month. It's just because yeah, it's because my birth month. And also, we have Christmas, we have the end of the year, we have New Year coming. So I really like this time of the year. And before we dive into my favorite book of the year, how is your reading going? For me, I have to speed read 53 books in order to reach my reading goal for the month, for the year, actually. Though I love to read, I really love reading. It was not until I started my booktube channel that I decided to start tracking my reading. Prior to this, I just read and enjoy my reading and just move the other way. But starting a booktube channel, I get to just track my reading. I still like for tracking my reading, so and I think it's actually nice to do that. So I decided to track my reading this year. This I think this is the first time I'm doing that. Was it? No, I don't know. And the worst thing is that I was using Goodreads to track my reading, and they underreported my reading. They said I read just 30 books out of 100 instead of 47 books out of 100. So I have 47 books on check now, and I need 53 books. So in order to complete my reading goal, pray for me, everyone, because I would love to actually read 100 books. I would love to do that. Just I love to at least do that for myself this year. However, I found my favorite book of the year. You know how Spotify had been rolling out, Spotify and this streaming platforms have been rolling out best your artist of the year. You have found mine. I've actually been looking for her all year because I'm looking for a book that would take me on a journey, and that's what I found in Every Mirror She's Black. Lola Akinmade Akerstrom's book, debut novel. This is a debut novel, just like Butter Honey Pig Bread, because I said the other book that actually made me feel this way is Butter Honey Pig Bread. So this is Lola's debut novel, and she knocked my socks off. I kid you not. This is my favorite book. So what are the criteria for making the book to be number one on my list? First, I give it 5 solid stars. I give a lot of book 5 solid stars because I know how tasking it is to write a book. It's so tasking. It really is. It's tasking to write a book. And also, I like to be nice to authors because I know it's not easy. I know that I give a lot of book 5 stars this year, but I'm giving this book 5 stars too. And I am saying to you that this is actually my favorite book of the year. First, it has really likable characters that I can't forget. It took me, I think, 2 weeks to finish this book. And why I was, because I took 2 weeks to finish because a lot was going on. I had a lot on my plate. But while I was away from this book, I kept thinking about it. So you see how nice this book is. Then, I said the characters are so likable. I just want to hug each and every character in this book. If not besides the main characters and besides the bad guys, of course, the most especially the women in this book, I just want to hug them and tell them that, you know, I love this book so much. Just I'm smiling so hard. Okay, and what else? I wrote it down. I wrote it down. So I give it 5 solid stars. It must be a page turner. I read a lot of page turners this year actually, but you know what I mean. Unforgettable characters and important message. You know how much I love contemporary fiction. It's the one especially geared towards women, and I love books that make me angry. This book did not really make me angry, but it had really important message. Like it's so multifaceted that you are just getting to know a lot of things. Yes, you are frowning in some parts because oh my god, you are worried about the character. Then you are actually wondering, like, okay, I never knew this before. Now I've learned about this. Like the book is just too much. I thought I'm giving it my book of the year. I don't know if I'm going to read any book that goes to top this. I do hope because you know I love a challenge. I do hope so. But let me tell you why this book is the best book. Starting with the way this lady wrote it. She writes so beautifully. And lovers of Chimamanda's works, that's books like Americana, and people have also said lovers of Queenie would love this book. And I agree. At first, when I started reading this book, I was like, no, 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 this book is on its online. But I agree that lovers of this kind of contemporary fiction would love this book. Her writing is so simple, so beautiful. She employed use of omniscient narrative technique, that's the third person narrative technique, and we see the story from each character's point of view. This is set in both the Sweden and US. We have three main characters in this book: Kemi, Kemi Adeyemi, Mona Saheed, and Brittany Ray. So, Kemi Adeyemi, from her name, you tell that she's Yoruba and she's from Nigeria. So she's partly Nigerian and she's also American. And we have Mona Saheed, Somali refugee in Sweden. Then we have Brittany Ray, a model turned air hostess. And these three women are very distinct characters. Their stories are far apart, but at the same time linked together, just like it is in the world. We might think that, oh, we're different outfits, but we are all part of this circle. And this story is so beautiful because it's something that I always think about. This how we connect with people, how we don't know their stories, that everybody's fighting their own demon or whatever. So this writer really told the story beautifully. So we have Kemi. Kemi is a marketing executive and she was just killing it in America, doing her thing, living her best life and all of that. And she's winning everything except from love, which if you ask me, I deviate a bit. If you ask me, I think it was completely unnecessary her worrying about love. But everybody have their own story. That's just what this book is trying to teach us, that everyone have their own story. But the way she was just doing about the love thing was quite annoying to me. I'm like, okay, girl, relax. Because she had to go on dating sites, meeting all sorts of guys that were just really just fetishizing her body. Some thought she was ugly, some thought she was fat. She just really wanted to get a guy, and I didn't like that about Kemi. But I understand that love is important. Yeah, love is beautiful, but I did not find it. I didn't like it that Kemi was just so into. Oh, I need somebody. I need somebody. I need somebody. I didn't like that part. Then we have Mona Saheed, one of my favorite character in this entire book, because I just wanted to hug Mona. I don't feel pity for her. No, I just want to hug her. I just want to. Mona is that kind of person that I just love. I just want to protect and just tell her that she's fine. Mona came from Somalia and she's a refugee in Sweden, and Mona is just really looking at the world. She's learning new things. She was still very young. I think she was 19, and there was just a lot of things that were not right that she had experienced. She experienced her entire family die, and I just really felt bad for Mona in this entire story. She just wanted to belong, She just wanted to feel something. She didn't want to be alone. And it was Mona's story was a really tough one in this book. Really tough. And I wish I could just enter this book and grab Mona and tell her that I love you and just hug her, but I can't do that. So I was just angry from as I read the book. Angry on Mona's behalf, angry at the world on Mona's behalf. I was just pissed. Then we have Brittany Ray. Brittany Ray has a Jamaican ancestry and she's in America. She's actually, the way she's described in the book, she's like a goddess, this black goddess. She's so beautiful, and she used to be a model. A lot of things happened, and something unfortunate happened, and she had to become an air hostess. On a flight, she meets the very successful Yoni von London, and she leaves her good guy Jamal for this guy. And while I was reading this book, I was actually praying that this guy should actually be good for Britney's sakes, because she had this really great guy, Jamal, and Johnny came, and Johnny is just really showing every trait that this I am not stable, I am not stable, I am not stable. Everything about Johnny said I am not stable. But I was actually praying like he should be stable, that he should just be like one of those kids that are just going through something, but he's actually a good guy. Yes, he was actually a good guy. He's actually a good guy, kind of, but he's not a good guy at the same time. He was just being possessive because all his life people have told him that he have refused to admit that there's something wrong with Yoni and he needs help. because admitting that the parents now say, oh, their prince is there's something wrong with him. You understand that kind of denial. Everybody around him had been in denial. So just like a boomerang effect. He was supposed to be a really sweet guy, and unfortunately, Brittany fell into this world that she didn't even plan for. And you know what? Brittany had everything at her beck and call. I mean, everything. The empire, people doting over her, and she hated that. And I could understand where Brittany was coming from. A lot of people might be like, oh, money. And it just goes to show that money is not everything. Money is not everything, because Brittany had the guy, the famous family, the famous name. She had a child for him. She had people at her beck and call doing her. You know, Brittany is that kind of character that you would look from afar and just judge her and say, oh, she's like a Barbie doll. She must be a Dumbo. But that's why it's important to actually don't judge people, because you never can tell what their stories are. Now we see Britney in this situation, a situation where most people would judge her that, oh, she's a gold digger and whatever and whatnot. And that's not even the case. We have these three distinct characters, and what actually drew them together was Yoni von London and the London von London marketing company. So I don't know why I want to say Remy all the time. Kemi came from America. She was actually baited from America to Sweden, the capital city of Sweden, which is Stockholm, to work with the Von London company. So the Von London company had run into some kind of marketing fiasco or disaster. They had promoted a tone deaf campaign. I know how everyone is really calling people to take responsibility for every action they take these days. So the Von London company wanted to salvage whatever was left of their reputation. So they had to fly down to America to poach Remy Kemi down to Sweden. And for them to do that, you know that she's really a big shot. So they lured her with all sorts of fancy words that she's going to be in charge of diversity, in international diversity, this and that and that, da, 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 da. And Brittany and Kemi was honored. And she was in America. She was like, okay, this is gonna be a new start for me. I can just press restart and all of that when I get to Sweden. And she got to Sweden, and that's not the case. She is hit by a culture shock, classism, racism. Her co-workers were such mean people. They're so mean to her. And at some point as well, I actually blame Kemi for some kind of things. Like, I blame her for some kind of things. However, they were quite mean to her. Agreed for that. Then we have Mona. Mona was living in the refugee hood, or a place where refugees were kept until they were accepted into the Swedish society. And Brittany was, and not Brittany, sorry, Mona, my sweetheart, Mona. Mona was in this place, and she fell in love with Ahmed. Their love transcended any other kind of thing that people describe as love now. It was just really a deep connection. It was beautiful. And Ahmed went on to kill himself, and this was actually very devastating. I felt so, I like, Ahmed, no, Mona is here for you. But you know how trauma goes. There's some kind of people that you cannot just help. It was really sad. And Mona was accepted to society. Then she's just trying to make headway, so she gets into the Von London company, watching the toilets, just a cleaner there. So her paths cross with Kemi. Then Brittany's path crossed with these ladies. She actually made more connection with Remy or Kemi. I don't know why I'm saying Remy. Honestly, I don't know why I'm saying Remy. Kemi. She, so Brittany is so on Britney's part, she fell in love, or I don't know what their relationship was actually. I don't know what it was. It was a very, very sketchy relationship. It was quite confusing. It was cringeworthy. There was never a time that was actually beautiful. I just wanted that, okay, can we proceed from this awkward relationship to a more beautiful relationship? So Kemi's relationship and Britney's relationship with Yoni von London, was what brought her into the entire mix. So although they are kind of intertwined, they had still led their own separate stories. The author was trying to create a universe where, okay, our paths are crossing, but we don't really pay attention to each other, but we pay attention to each other, kind of, those kind of things. And she did it seamlessly. I don't know if I'm doing justice to my review right now, but I need you to read this book. It is so beautiful. I kid you not. The book touched on important topics. Like I said, important topics earlier. And number one is racism. Racism is, from the title you tell, that this book is about to touch heavily on racism, and not in that kind of way that I'm morbid. Oh, look at it. But, there's some writers that portray important topics in a way that is actually annoying. They totally disrespect the rule of show never tell. So, but Lola Akinmade Akerstrom did perfectly well in doing this, and this had debut novel. Did I say that before? Yes, I did, but I'm going to say it again. She did beautifully. Then the issue of racism, like, first, Brittany Ray is not, like, she was not accepted to this royalty because of the color of her skin. And although the parents had something that were hiding because of Yoni, but still her skin tone was an issue. We have Kemi, who was battling with her fellow co-workers and people on the road and all of that. Then we have my sweetheart Mona. I love Mona so much. You do not even understand how much I just love that character, Mona. Mona, her own was she's from Somali. She's Somali first of all. Then she wears a hijab. You know how people stereotype people, like that. They're not really battling racial profiling. You're also battling your religion, your religious preference. So it was tough on my girl. And she's just a young lady in Sweden. No family, nobody. Nobody. You have nothing, you have nobody to fall to. So Mona's story is much more touching. To me, I know that we're not doing any suffering Olympics. But I just really felt drawn to Mona because I've never really seen, I mean, I've read stories about migration and all of that, but I just love how monastery was told, because I know that there are a lot of people going through exactly the same thing that Mona is going through, and I just want to say to you that you're not alone. You're not alone, and hopefully they get to cross paths with people that actually see them, see not just a number of survivors. No, that the people that see them as persons and just really see them. Then we have classism. We see it, and I really respect Kemi for her effort in actually saying Mona. Mona was a cleaner in their office, and she actually accorded Mona respect anytime she met Mona, and I really love that so much, so much. So there's a lot of classism in this book. There's only a time that someone was asking the other person that okay, where do you live, what area do you live in, and the person was like, okay, you're asking me so that you can, know how to place me. And it actually reminded me of Lagos, Nigeria, because whenever you tell anybody, oh, I'm living in Lagos, and the person be like, are you living on the island or the mainland? That is already a strike of classism. So if you're living on the island, it means you are rich. Then if you're on the mainland, oh, you are actually not really there. So we see this kind of things everywhere, not just in Sweden. Every society, there's this classism in the world. It is terrible, terrible. Especially if you're being at the other end, it's terrible. Then we have fetishization of the black body. So this book is just gonna tell you that black women are not some fetish that you'd desire or whatever. Then we have what it means to be a woman in the society. Then not just a woman, but a black woman in society. It's it's really nice read. It's really good. I want to read this book so much. Then we have Personhood. This actually touch on every character, every single character in this book, because every single person wants different things, and every just that the world wants us to be to be different, but at the same time the world wants us to fit in, and that's not really know how it works. And this was really a lesson that just the fact that we're all different and the fact that we can work with each other and our different personalities is what makes the world beautiful. That's really one very important message in this book. And I would love for you to read my favorite book of 2021. Go off in a comment, tell me what your favorite book is. I would love to read, I would love to know, I would love to see. Who knows, your favorite book might just be in part of my 53 books I'll have to quickly read through before the year ends. So yeah, do have a lovely day and have a nice December. You will say more of me, of course, but just have a nice December for now. Goodbye.